Hi, Brigham. Let me know when you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Perfect. How are you today?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Alrighty. So tell me, what have you been working on here recently, and what would you say is your main goal for today?
So, um, in the week and a half since we last met, my cold lasted a bit longer than I expected. So it took me a while to go through and start and re-record the prologue one last time, like I'd planned to. I'm working on editing that right now, but I have started to kind of start practicing. I have started practicing the next part, unveiling your inner light. Um, so actually making progress. Um, And I was thinking actually maybe that would be a good thing to work on today.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. So if you were going to um say like maybe a time that you've worked on something that you feel like this ties into that, when would you say would be like an example of a time that you've dealt with that with voice acting?
Could you ask that one more time?
Yeah, like how does it like apply to what you've been working on in the past, or do you feel like it's a totally new approach? Like what would you say um where do you see it helping you in the voiceover world?
I think it's just, I think I just kind of like having the advantage of having the person who actually wrote it there listening
Oh,
as
for
I
sure. Yeah.
when I read it.
Yeah.
Um,
Is it like the practice of having the direction in the moment? Because so I guess wording it, I could have maybe worded it better. Um, a lot of the time when you're practicing on your own and you're pulling practice scripts or you're just auditioning, you maybe don't get a lot of feedback from them on what they're looking for, right? Sometimes you
mhm.
do. Sometimes in audition postings, they'll be very specific about what it is that they want. Sometimes you'll get someone who's very hands-on and very particular and specific about what they're wanting. But a lot of the time, especially when you're practicing on your own and sort of dipping your toes into the water of voiceover, you you're kind of going in and you feel a little bit blind, right? That it's like, oh, I've just kind of been making choices and practicing and doing the best I could on my own. And you don't know exactly what it is that they want going in, right? So
Mhm.
having the advantage of having somebody, it's like, okay, I can get like live feedback right here, right now, and practice almost like you're in a live directed session with somebody in the moment, right? Which is pretty
Yeah,
cool. Yeah.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
I didn't articulate it well. Sorry
No, 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 no. That
if
makes
my
sense.
question was confusing. Yeah, I guess like the question is how does this apply to what you've done with voiceover already? How is it going to help you moving forward? That kind of thing. So was kind of what I was thinking. So sometimes I don't articulate things in the best way. What happens in
No,
my brain does not come out exactly the way I
no,
wanted.
and that's actually fair because like now I am starting to wonder like since in the future I won't always be able to have, you know,
Yeah.
the writer giving me direct feedback.
Hmm.
Maybe that's something I should learn to become a little bit more comfortable with.
Yeah.
Um,
Making
and
big, bold choices. And a lot of the time you go in and they don't give you exactly what they're looking for. You don't really know. And it's like, okay, what do I do?
yeah,
And you have to make those big, bold choices and go, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. And it is kind of scary when you first jump in, but you have to sometimes do that. So yeah.
yeah,
But we have, the benefit of that you can get my feedback right here, right now, which is great. All right. So we're going to practice then with that. Let's go ahead and dive in. And I want you to just pick a section that you want to start with today.
okay. Let's hmm, let's just start at the beginning of that section
Okay.
of that chapter.
Yeah.
Okay. Unveiling your inner light. Unveiling your inner light refers to self discovery, self awareness, and personal growth. It involves exploring and understanding your true self, acknowledging your strengths and weaknesses, and embracing your authentic identity. Here are some, here are some general steps and concepts that may help in unveiling your inner light.
Okay, good. All right. So tell me what you were thinking going in. What were the things that you were focused on doing this first read through?
So, even though I've read through it before, I think because this was my first time to today, I was concerned about accuracy. Um,
Sure. Yeah,
um, I don't know. I feel like the first try is always very stiff.
sure.
Yeah. Um, it was just making sure that I said everything correctly, um,
Yeah.
that I read it correctly. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if I could try it again,
Sure.
the that I think that might
Okay.
help.
All right. So I thought there were quite a few positives here. I think you
Oh,
have a
really?
nice warm tone. I think you're doing a pretty great job with the phrasing, feeling very personable, um, sounding like you genuinely care about the people that you're talking to. All of those are really positive things. That's awesome. Um, so I'm really pleased with what I'm hearing there.
Oh,
So
that's good.
then, thinking about what we can improve though. So thinking,
Mhm.
okay, what can I do to kind of further this or improve it even more, right? Um, so one thing that I would like to hear, I think is mm, I think a little more personality
Yeah,
infused into it. Like right now it sounds pretty polished, but I'd love to hear it be a little bit more of your personality coming out,
yeah.
basically. Yeah.
That was
Um,
that was my biggest concern just barely as I was reading it. I was just like,
oh,
it sounds like I'm reading it.
interesting. It
It sounds like I'm reading it,
sounds like
and
you read
that's yeah.
it. You are.
Which believe it or not, I am. So,
Yeah. So, so maybe sort of envisioning the person that you're talking to
hmm,
and then directing this to them, thinking about them and thinking about how would I say this to an actual person. So if you were thinking of an actual person that you can talk to and direct this to, who would you direct this towards? Who would you think of that you feel like would be interested in this? Can you kind of envision that person, imagine that person in your mind?
yeah, yeah, I can.
Okay. And then let's have you say it like you're just saying it to them.
Unveiling your inner light refers to self discovery, self awareness, and personal growth. It involves exploring and understanding your true self, acknowledging your strengths and weaknesses, and embracing your authentic identity. Here are some general steps and concepts that may help in unveiling your inner light. I know that was super over the top with like
That's okay. Yeah, I feel
conversational.
like that happens though, that it's like you'll try something and maybe you go a little bit too far and then you lean back a little bit and you get the, sweet spot. But that's okay. I think that's perfectly fine to, you know, take it farther than you maybe have to. I think that's
Yeah,
perfectly fine. Because
helps
we're
find that balance.
experimenting and we're finding what works. Yeah, finding the balance. So that's
Hmm.
great. All right. So then let's have we're going to try it again because you already have an idea of what you want to tweak about it, right? So let's try
Hmm.
that again.
Okay. Unveiling your inner light refers to self discovery, self awareness, and personal growth. It involves exploring and understanding your true self, acknowledging your strengths and weaknesses, and embracing your authentic identity. Here are some general steps and concepts that may help in unveiling your inner light.
Nice. All right. So, how did you like that? It was better, right?
A lot better. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
I think I think it was the best one so far.
Hmm. Yeah, I thought so too. Yeah. So, if you were going to tell somebody else, like, here are a few comments on how to get this kind of sound, what would you advise them to do? How would you tell them to do this?
Um, to be aware of kind of like what you said, giving a personality to each item on a list.
Yeah.
Um, um, but then at the same time, like recognizing the, um, well, I guess as part of that, delving into that, it's like recognizing the when there's similar items on the list that you need to
Sure.
distinguish between,
Hmm.
self-discovery versus self-awareness, um, and then um, finding those keywords like um, acknowledging your strengths and weaknesses, um, and embracing your authentic identity, and
Hmm.
embracing your authentic identity. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Good. All right, I love it. So that's a little bit more of the emphasis, right? Which words are the most important? Really leaning into those, emphasizing keywords, um, and not, like punching them, you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So, but kind of spotlighting, highlighting them. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Good.
exactly.
Excellent. Awesome. Good. All right, let's try because I thought that worked really well. Let's go ahead and try the next section.
Cool. Self-reflection. Reflect on your life, experiences, values, and beliefs. Consider what brings you joy, fulfillment, and a sense of purpose. Reflecting on your past and present can provide insights into your true self.
All right, good. So I think for this one, I just want it to be a little bit like more smooth, if that makes sense. Can we try that? Just a little more
Yeah,
flow.
self reflection. Reflect on your life, experiences, values, and beliefs. Consider what brings you joy, fulfillment, and a sense of purpose. Reflecting on your past and present can provide insights into your true self.
Good. I like that better. Good.
Okay.
And I actually felt like it sounded a little bit warmer as well, which was really nice, especially when you're like, your true self, like um, it's very nurturing and like caring. And I feel like that came across really well.
Mhm.
Yeah, good. All right. So then what would you say would be um your favorite thing about that section? Like, and what did you feel like sounded good, like what you were striving for, and what was the key thing that you thought of or that you did that helped you achieve that?
I feel like I wasn't straining on any gnats, like, straining on any,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes you tend to hyper focus on
Mm.
one particular thing or on doing one particular thing. And I feel like that
Yeah.
time I just kind of let it, I just like, even though I knew it sounded a bit more like I was, reading it, it, I managed to, I guess, naturally pull back on that and
Hmm.
not make it too over the top. Um,
Yeah.
like I
Good.
like I was scared that it was going to sound like I was reading it and kind of almost rushing through it, which I could have maybe slowed down a
Okay.
little bit still, but um, but it was a lot more natural.
Yeah, good. Awesome. Yeah, great. Okay, so the reason I'm having you identify what it is you're doing, how you're changing what you're doing, the approach, what it feels like to you, being able to articulate that means that you can do this on your own too. So later, when we're not together anymore, you can take those key notes with you and apply them later on. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. All right, so let's go to the next chunk of it. What would you say are some ways that you identify the tone when you think about the different sections of the book and how the tone can change and shift? What would you say are some of the ways, like the clues or the ways that you know what kind of tone to have for that particular moment?
the biggest ones that I've noticed for this book, at least, have been um, when it's talking about something, if the text is talking about something that um, isn't, because a lot of the text is very positive and focused on, improving yourself, and this is, is good for you. But like whenever I have to address or talk about something that's negative in any sort of way, um, like um, like later, like I think a few things down the list, it talks about like, be willing to explore aspects of yourself that may be uncomfortable. You know,
Right.
that just that aspect of that may be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like it's like really making sure that there's that sort of distinction. Um,
Mm,
and then another big thing has just been like those descriptive words. It's
right.
not just reflection, but self-reflection, or
Yeah.
um, and not just into yourself, but into your true self.
Yeah. So looking a lot at those descriptive words, any adjectives, adverbs, they kind of clue you in.
Yeah.
Love it. Nice. Okay. So then let's go ahead and we're going to look at the next chunk here, and we're going to apply some of those same ideas that you were just mentioning.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Mindfulness and meditation. Practices like mindfulness and meditation can help you become more aware of your thoughts, emotions, and reactions. These practices promote inner peace and can aid in discovering your inner light by quieting external noise and connecting with your inner self.
Good. All right. So how did that feel?
Good. It was one of those times that like I don't know if you ever have those times when like a sentence maybe ends before you think it's going
Yeah.
to, or it keeps going when you think that it's about to end,
Yeah.
and you have to kind of like quickly like pick back up.
Catches you off guard a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, that kind of happened this time with the second sentence. Um,
Mm,
um, but I feel like I got the general tone right now. And now it's just a matter of like the phrasing and emphasis
mhm.
on, and just the actual dynamics.
Good. Excellent. Good. So if you gave yourself one tip for how to improve it, what would you say? Just kind of thinking back to what you just did, you were like, I feel like I could, do this one thing that would improve it. What would that be?
Maybe just think about what I'm reading.
Okay. Thinking more about what you're saying rather than just like, reading a script, really thinking about what it is you're saying and connecting more.
Yeah. Well,
Absolutely.
while still like having already established the whole more smooth flowing,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
but like now with that established, actually thinking about what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah. Good. Okay. So let's try it.
Mindfulness and meditation. Practices like mindfulness and meditation can help you become more aware of your thoughts, emotions, and reactions. These practices promote inner peace and can aid in discovering your inner light by quieting external noise and connecting with your inner self.
Nice. Good. How'd that feel?
I thought it felt a lot better.
Yeah,
Um,
I thought so too. Good.
I I don't I like I'm always nervous to pause if there's not a comma. Um,
Oh, yeah.
like that time I said like can aid in discovering your inner light by quieting external noise
Yeah.
and but it just says by quieting your
That's a great
inner
place to
light
put
by
a pause because you're
okay.
watching for phrasing, right? And that was the start of a prepositional phrase. So I think that's perfectly fine to take a breath right there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a great spot to do that. So kind of letting yourself off the hook a little bit, right?
Yeah.
You can let yourself breathe a little bit. You can, take space if you need it. And then, if you listen back and you go, oh, that was a lot of space. you can always shorten it later, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
Okay.
perfectly okay to, after the fact, to be like, oh, maybe that was a little bit too much space. But you can take as long of a pause as you want because it really doesn't matter. You're going to be, you're going to be going back through editing all of it. So I think it's perfectly fine to breathe, you know,
Okay.
and to take those pauses to let yourself relax a little bit more into it.
Hmm.
Yeah. Can we try it
Yeah.
one more time and really try to, channel that idea of I'm just relaxing into this?
Okay. Mindfulness and meditation. Practices like mindfulness and meditation can help you become more aware of your thoughts, emotions, and reactions. These practices promote inner peace and can aid in discovering your inner light by quieting external noise and connecting with your inner self.
Nice. Yeah. Did that feel a little bit more comfortable?
I think so, yeah.
Hmm. Good. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Fantastic. Okay. So then, um, good. Let's try another chunk.
Okay, I'll just keep going.
Yeah.
Explore your passions. Identify activities, hobbies, or pursuits that genuinely interest or blah, blah, blah. 3, 2, 1. Let's try it again. Explore your passions. Identify activities, hobbies, or pursuits that genuinely interest and excite you. Engaging in activities you are passionate about can bring about your authentic self and contribute to a sense of fulfillment.
Nice. All right. Yeah, I feel like as you sort of like focus in and you get warmed up into it, you'll find that you just sort of fall into that kind of flow and it's going to be easier because you're going to be like, oh, it just kind of, goes into that pattern a little bit more and you'll get more comfortable sitting into it. Um,
Yeah,
so what did you like best about that section there? Because I can hear you carrying a lot of the things we talked about through that section you just read.
yeah. Um, I feel like that one I was pretty relaxed. Um,
Yeah.
like it felt very natural,
Hmm.
um, while still being, pro- professional.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
yeah. Um, I feel like it did sound like I was thinking about what I was saying. Um, and I said it. I didn't really let the grammar like be too overbearing for the way that I would say it.
Right.
Um, um, the one thing I think I would have changed is just maybe just slowed it down a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, let's try that. Yeah, I think you could slow it down a little bit.
Mhm.
Let's try it.
Explore your passions. Identify activities, hobbies, or pursuits that genuinely interest and excite you. Engaging in, engaging in activities you are passionate about can bring out your authentic self and contribute to a sense of fulfillment.
Okay, good. Let's do it one more time.
Yeah, thanks. Explore your passions. Identify activities, hobbies, or pursuits that genuinely interest and excite you. Engaging in activities you are passionate about can bring out your authentic self and contribute to a sense of fulfillment.
Good. Yeah, that was better.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. It just like was, I
So
don't know, like a
sometimes it
little
just feels like
choppy or
I,
disconnected feeling to me.
yeah.
The other one, you
The
you
first
didn't
one,
seem as in
sometimes
the
it just like,
zone.
sometimes I'll just read it and like, it just feels like I already just know I'm on the wrong track.
Oh,
And I'll just be like,
you're like,
ugh, crap. Okay.
yeah, like it's just like a false start, It's like it
Yeah.
just didn't start as strong as it could be. So
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, good. All right. So thinking about that last take, I mean, I would say pretty much always you are going to be like, yeah, I probably need to practice, you know?
Yeah.
Um, So just kind of having it where it's like, oh, I'm ready to just, dive in and I'll be perfect. That's rare, that like that you can just like wing it and it
Yeah.
be as good as it gets. So
Yeah.
what I would say is take the time to practice it because if you do it a few times, it's like, oh, there it is, you know? And each time it gets a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. Um, and so I would say, um, what I usually do is I'll practice it to the point that I'm like, okay, I feel comfortable that if I was going to an audition in person, I was going live, I feel like, my first take would be pretty good. I'd be proud of what I did. So I try to get it ready like I would have to perform it live in front of somebody. And then what I do is I do 3 takes. So I record it once, I record it twice, I record it a third time. And I then compare the three and I figure out which one I like best. And then I usually use that one. Now, if I really epically hated all three, I'd probably do it again. But I typically find that I can be kind of perfectionistic and I can waste a lot of time. And it's like I start to get tired, my voice sounds tired, and it just doesn't end up helping anybody? So I tend to kind of limit myself to I'm going to do it 3 times and then I'm going to stop.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Because yeah, that's been one of my biggest uh I think issues just in general has been just that idea of just perfectionism and
Yeah.
you spend so much time on the same you know same paragraph or the same
Right.
or sometimes even the same line and
Hmm.
you realize just how much time you've spent on this one line and you're just like okay is it really am I overthinking this a bit too much
Yeah.
which
Hmm.
when eventually like it doesn't even start to sound like a sentence anymore to you and it's just kind of like you're like eventually you're just kind of not in a place where you could even really probably even do any good anymore.
Right.
It's
Like
like
I think you get too tired.
yeah,
So it's better sometimes to just let it go
yeah,
and
yeah,
be like, all right. Um, so I prepare it like I would do it in person. And then I usually limit myself to a certain time frame as well. I say, okay, I'm going to spend maximum this amount of time. So if it's an audition not through my agent, I try to do only 15 minutes per audition. Um, and then if it's for my agent, I give myself a maximum of 1 hour to do it. So that keeps me accountable. And if I can't do it in that time frame, I say, well, clearly I just need like a break. I'll go do something else. I'll come back later, if I have the
mhm,
option. Um, and that keeps me from just getting in that zone where I'm just picking myself apart, you know?
yeah.
So, yeah. So awesome. Good work there. Let's go ahead and we're going to do that same section again that you just did. And I want you to do it like you are doing it for that live audition. Thinking if I was in like a live audition and,
Holding
you
the
know,
paper in front of me,
in person, yeah, like you went to the studio.
yeah.
Yeah, let's try that.
Explore your passions. Identify activities, hobbies, or pursuits that genuinely interest and excite you. Engaging in activities you are passionate about can bring out your authentic self and contribute to a sense of fulfillment.
Good. All right. Awesome. What do you think of that? I thought that was pretty good.
For for an audition take, I wouldn't have been beating myself up over it. I feel
Yeah,
like I would have been
I thought
like,
it
yeah,
was pretty solid. I mean, like it sounded very polished. So I was like, oh, okay, great.
yeah,
If you recorded it just like that, I'd be happy with that. So
oh, sweet.
awesome. That was very good. All right. So let's go ahead and go to the next chunk. I'm going to have you read it through silently once, read it through out loud once, just kind of getting your mouth around it, getting the words and the patterns and the
Yeah,
shapes.
right.
And then I want you to do 3 takes, and then you're going to tell me which of those three you liked best and why. All right, so first just read through the next little paragraph that you're going to do silently. And then when you're done with that, you're just going to do that first stumble through.
Okay. Embrace vulnerability. Being open and vulnerable is a crucial aspect of self discovery. Allow yourself to express your true feelings and emotions and be willing to explore aspects of yourself that may be uncomfortable.
Yeah. And here I would say too, like think about the fact that you're referencing things they don't like,
Yeah,
maybe uncomfortable, right? So keep in mind that these are things they're not happy about. So, don't be all like, da, 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 like all like
right.
encouraging and peppy, because you're talking about things that aren't so fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, just keep that in mind as you go through. So let's try that first take. Like if this was your first recording of the three.
Okay. Embrace vulnerability. Being open and vulnerable is a crucial aspect of self discovery. Allow yourself to express your true feelings and emotions and be willing to explore aspects of yourself that may be uncomfortable.
Yeah, good. Awesome. It still is professional, but it still sounds like you care. Like it
Yeah,
sounds like you genuinely are interested in them, which is nice. So um it's not necessarily like I'm your best friend, but it definitely has that connection and it feels like I do care about you. Like it sounds empathetic, which is really nice.
yeah.
Okay, so for this next take, this would be your second take. What's the one thing that you're going to change about this?
Um, I'm going to slow down a little bit.
Okay. All right, let's slow it down. Okay, let's try it again. One little trick to slow down is try breathing in through your nose instead of your mouth.
Oh, okay. Embrace vulnerability. Being open and vulnerable is a crucial aspect of self discovery. Allow yourself to express your true feelings and emotions, and be willing to explore aspects of yourself that may be uncomfortable.
All right, good. Awesome. So what did you think of that take?
Good. That's weird. I've never tried breathing in through my nose before while doing one of these. Like it's something I would need to get used to.
Mhm. Yeah, it's like, whoa, that feels very different. Yeah, I was gonna say it didn't feel quite as natural to me. Like it felt a little more like you were being focused and careful about what you were doing. So it probably was just that focus on breathing through the nose.
Yeah, yeah. It
So
was just weird
ideally,
because it's like
you relax into it more.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So this third take, it wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad take. It just sounded to me like you were very focused on doing
Yeah,
it right. So the
yeah.
third take, what would you say is going to be your focus this time? The thing that you want to focus on changing, tweaking, adjusting. What would be your focus here?
I think maybe just relax.
Hmm.
Because it just I feel like that takes the whole like, you know, take
Yeah.
it easy on the speed thing into account, but also but like don't be like sound like you're like on edge with, trying to scared of stumbling.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so I would say, with that, maybe before you even start, do a big exhalation, like let all your air out. So try to think like, okay, I'm gonna kind of like tighten everything up and then like let it all go, do a big exhalation, get yourself really relaxed before you even start the take. Okay? Can we try that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Embrace vulnerability. Being open and vulnerable is a crucial aspect of self discovery. Allow yourself to express your true feelings and emotions, and be willing to explore aspects of yourself that may be uncomfortable.
Okay. What do you think of that take?
I thought that was good.
Yeah. Awesome. Good. All right. So which of those three takes was your favorite and why? And what did you learn from each of them?
I'm trying to remember the first one in my head and compare it to the last one I just did.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, it's helpful when you have the recording. Yeah. Um, so so I would say like it seemed to me that you sort of learned each time you did it. So probably that last take would be your favorite, I would guess. Um, because it was like you did the first take, you learned something from it, you adjusted something. You learned
Mhm.
something from the second take, you adjusted something, and then we
Yeah,
learned something from the third take as well, right? Um,
yeah.
so if you were going to maybe say after having conquered that chunk, what were the things that stick with you from that? Um, I would say maybe breathe might be like if I picked one word to kind of summarize what you learned or what the focus was for this chunk, I might say breathe as my one word. What's your one word takeaway from this?
Um, Relax.
Okay, relax. Yeah, and I feel like those two words tie together really beautifully. So, yeah, relax. Yeah. Yeah, and some
Yeah.
things you can try like before you read, like maybe like tighten your shoulder, like you bring your shoulders up to yours and like really, really squeeze and tighten everything and then like let it all out, like shake it out a little bit, before you go. So using that like progressive muscle relaxation technique of like tightening and then letting go, and it
Yeah.
helps you to relax. And you can sort of like shake everything out before you start and then like get yourself breathing and then try a take. So relaxing into it more.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I would say just generally overall, I think that'll help because I feel like something you say over and over is I really feel like I should slow it down,
I
And the
say it a
the
lot.
act
I
of
do. Yeah.
relaxing is going to help you do that, right?
Yeah.
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 So I think that's a good takeaway, just kind of generally overall for today too.
Yeah.
So what would you say is one thing about this session that you were like, I was really proud of myself for this, or I felt really good about this?
I I feel like this time, a lot of times when like at the end of a session, like you'll tell me like I feel like we made a lot of progress. I'll be like, oh, good, yay. But I'll be like, I don't feel like I did.
Oh
This
no.
time,
You're
this
like,
time,
all
I
right.
I feel like I actually could very much feel the progression I was making. Like,
Oh, good. I love
and I was
that.
very
Kind
aware
of
of the
taking
improvements
ownership
that were.
of it more rather
Yeah.
than me just sort of like giving you platitudes. You were like, hey, I I
Yeah.
can feel this. I can sense it. I know that it's working. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good. I love that. So you just kind of have to like take my word for it sometimes, but I love
And,
when
and I
you
do
are
because I know that
noticing it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I definitely do take your word for it because there are definitely times that I'll do a take and I'll know that
Yeah.
it was bad and you won't say anything really at first and you'll be like, okay, so what'd you think of that? And I'll just be like, dang it,
Oh,
which
yeah. And
which
I
is
let
good,
you
which is
sort of
very good,
reflect.
which which is
Except
a
being
very
like,
good thing.
that
I'd
kind of
rather have you do
sucked.
that
You can
than
do
tell me that
better.
it's good when it's not, you know?
Oh, that's funny. That's awesome. So then what would you say is maybe one thing? Yeah, I mean, so referring to that, I find that like being really negative and kind of tearing people down isn't the most productive. So I prefer to focus on these are the good things. Let's try to do more of that and less of these other things, right? So
Yeah,
if you're focused on the things that we don't like, we
yeah,
tend to do more of it. So I want you to be focused on the things we want to be doing. So if there's
yeah,
something I hear that I'm like, this was really good, I'm going to say that and be like, let's do more of that. And
yeah,
if there's something that I'm like, we're not doing much of this, I really would like you to focus on doing this, like
mhm,
that I'm not hearing you do something. I'm like, hey, could we focus on doing more of this? Like more of like breathing or
yeah,
more of
yeah,
let's slow it down, right?
yeah,
Giving you a specific thing to focus on doing
yeah, do
I find
this
more productive.
instead of don't do this, say do this. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
mean like and whenever you do like whenever I do hear that silence, after a take, like it it helps me because like
You're like,
it gives me a chance to reflect on it
yeah.
myself. And
Right.
okay, well,
Yeah.
what did I notice about that? That
Uh-huh.
was what did I do wrong?
Right.
Uh,
It's funny that you say that because I think I do like when I'm doing that, I am genuinely thinking through what I just heard.
mhm.
Um, so I've actually had like in my personal life too, like my husband or my sister, other people be like, you're not saying anything. And it's because I am genuinely thinking about it. And sometimes people
Yeah,
think that that's automatically a bad thing, and it isn't necessarily an automatic bad thing. It
yeah,
just means that
because there
I'm
are some people who it
processing.
can be, yeah, but
Yeah, I'm
with you, it's
processing
because
what
you're
it is I
trying
was
to
hearing.
actually be sincere in the way that you, yeah,
Right. Yeah. I don't want to just be like, okay, that was good, moving on. Like, I want
yeah,
to actually think through what you just did and be able to formulate a good response and think of a way to kind of help guide you forwards. So it's not even necessarily me being like, well, this was bad, this was bad, this was bad. It's usually more me going, okay, how can I articulate this? What exercises could we do next? What could I have you think about, as the
mhm,
next step? So it's more of that than I'm piecing it all together because I'm genuinely reflecting. And I
yeah,
like that you're reflecting at the same time. That's great because I
mhm,
want you to develop the awareness because you're not always going to have me around.
mhm,
So you need to have the ability to give yourself that constructive criticism too. So I love that you're
yeah.
doing that. Then what would you say is maybe one thing that for the future, you're like, okay, I want to set this as a goal for the future, something in the future I'd really like to work towards.
Um, it was actually just one of the more practical things that you told me, which is just
Yeah.
practice it when you're working on something, practice it until it's audition ready, which doesn't mean that it's
Yeah.
perfect or that
Hmm.
it's
Right.
polished or anything like that. It's
It's
just
not
like,
performance ready, right? It's
yeah,
audition
but
ready.
like
Yeah.
that you'd be comfortable doing it in an audition.
Hmm. Which,
Um,
you can think of an audition as a performance, but if you're doing it as a job, you've had more time with that script. You've had more time to just kind of like, it's like having a brand new pair of shoes. And after you've
yeah,
worked them in for a month, they're going to feel a lot more comfy, you know?
yeah, yeah.
So it's
And
kind of the same idea here.
audition ready, like I think implies that yes, there is still
Preparation is
yeah
done.
improvement
Yeah.
that could be
But it's
done,
like the new pair of
but like
shoes.
you have prepared. Yeah,
Yeah. It's like maybe you've had the new pair of shoes, you've worn them a few days rather than you've worn them a month kind of
yeah,
idea. Yeah.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
recording the three times, finding which one you like the most,
Yeah.
and also just those having time frames to hold yourself to.
Hmm.
Um, those are three things that I wrote down and
Hmm.
that I really want to implement.
Love it. Yeah, good. Awesome. I think this was really productive. I'm really pleased with the work that we did today. So, um, keep up the good progress, and I'm excited to see where we're at when we meet again. 2 weeks, right?
Yeah. Yes,
Okay, great. So I will see you 2 weeks from today. Awesome work today,
perfect.
Brigham.
Yeah, same to you, and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You too. I hope you have a great time with loved ones and it's
You too.
relaxing and
Eat some good food.
restorative. I know sometimes when you get with like big family things, it can be chaotic. And like afterwards, you're like, I need a nap, a long one.
I know,
So
I
I
know.
hope that
That's
it is a very, uplifting experience. Alrighty, well,
I'm sure
you
it will be
have
the
a
same to you.
good one. I'm just hoping,
Awesome. Thanks.
with I have a puppy right now, so I'm like, I
Oh,
hope he just stays mellow. I'll just tire him
yeah,
out real good in the morning, right?
yeah. And well, and this will be
Take him
you
on
and your
an
husband's
extra
first
long
Thanksgiving
walk.
together, right?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, our first married Thanksgiving.
Married
Yeah.
Thanksgiving. Oh, that's so
Should
fun.
be fun. Yeah. I was like talking to him about food and stuff, and he was like, he was like, yeah, I usually just like look up like where you can just get a Thanksgiving plate that's made for you. And I was like, what?
Oh,
But he also grew
excuse.
up in like a very bachelor household. Like most of his life, it was just him and his dad and his brother, his little brother.
Yeah.
So like it was just guys. And I'm like, yeah,
Well,
no, that's not gonna fly in my family.
time for a life-changing experience.
Exactly. I mean, I think he's done Thanksgiving with my family.
Yeah.
I think so. But yeah,
Yeah,
we're big food people, like both sides of my family. Like
yeah,
you visit anyone's house and people will cook for you. It will be a feast.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't think that there's
So,
anything. I don't think that that's a negative adjustment that anyone would consider that to
yeah.
be a negative adjustment in their life at all.
He
So I think your husband,
definitely gained some weight since, starting dating and having a relationship with me, but
yeah,
it's okay. Like sometimes he's like, I shouldn't have that ice cream. And I'm like, well, I'm having some.
and that is the total green light.
You know, it's like one of the great joys of life. So I'm like, as long as my doctor says I'm healthy, I'm not going to worry about
Yeah, no,
it.
absolutely, absolutely,
And I'm going to eat the ice cream if I want to. So,
absolutely.
so well, you have a wonderful time. I was
You
definitely in
too.
the Thanksgiving mood because this weekend he was like, what kind of sandwich do you want? And I was like, Thanksgiving sandwich,
Yeah,
turkey
yeah,
and cranberry.
yeah. You're starting to feel it. You're starting to
I'm
feel it.
feeling it. Yep, it's getting in my bones.
Yeah.
So, yep, I'm already thinking about like, you know, spiral cut honey baked hams and, you know, oven baked turkeys and all the
Yes.
stuffing and
Yeah. Yeah.
dressings and
Yeah. The
fancy
rolled.
potato dishes,
Yeah.
you know.
See, I'm a huge fan of turkey, and I feel like it's kind of
Yeah,
becoming an unpopular opinion. I feel like a lot of people are saying
really.
nowadays that they don't like turkey. I've always loved it at
It depends
Thanksgiving.
on how it's prepared.
That is
If
true.
it's very dry and not great, it's like, "Bleh."
That is
But
very true.
if it is well prepared, it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like having it just, the one time a year because it makes it
Yeah.
very special. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. You save it. And then it's like
Yeah.
you have a whole turkey. It's a fun experience. Yeah.
Yeah. And then all the plates of leftovers. Yeah.
Yeah. Because if I make turkey the rest of the year, it's probably going to be like maybe like instead of hamburger, like ground turkey, I'll
Yeah.
use sometimes, or
Yeah. I'll have it like sliced in a cold cut sandwich. Like,
exactly. Yeah. Like on a sandwich, or
yeah.
I don't know, like occasionally I'll make like a turkey breast, I guess, but like
Mm.
it's not going to be like the whole turkey. When do you get a turkey leg? Only at Thanksgiving.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely.
So yeah. Yeah, it pretty much it's like sandwiches or like ground turkey is pretty much like my normal, like that's about the only time we have it. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a special time. I'm with
Yeah.
you. I feel like it's like the tradition. It's a
Yeah.
special
Yeah.
tradition. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know a lot of people do like Christmas ham. My family tends to do like a seafood feast for Christmas.
Ooh,
I don't
I
know
haven't heard that
why. We
before.
just like we have shrimp cocktail and like my grandpa will like have a sink full of shrimp. Like and we have clam chowder and like smoked salmon and like all kinds of just like delightful
Ooh.
seafood dishes. And like we'll have other things if people don't want it. Like we'll have like a sandwich station if people want
Yeah.
it, or like a different kind of soup. But it's
Yeah.
like in case somebody doesn't like seafood. But yeah, we tend to do
Right.
like a big seafood feast on Christmas Eve and then we do like a big brunch on Christmas Day. So
Mhm.
we don't actually open presents till later because we do brunch first. It's like a big thing. So
My family was always the same way. Like
yeah.
first of all, we always slept in on Christmas. My
Right,
family,
yeah, us
we like to
too.
sleep in.
My
Uh,
mom was like, you are not like, because we would try to sometimes get up early when we were like real little. She was like, if the sun has not risen, you are not allowed to exit that room. And I was like, what if
yeah.
I have to pee? So I would like sneak to the bathroom and like be like, I'm not gonna peek. She'll know somehow that I looked at the stockings. So yeah,
See,
yeah,
Christmas
fun
Eve,
times.
my siblings and I would always sleep downstairs together in the same room,
Oh,
like a little
I love that.
sleepover kind of thing.
That's
And we
sweet.
couldn't go upstairs until my parents called them. Okay,
Ah,
you can come up for breakfast now.
got
And we go
it.
up, go straight to the kitchen,
That's fun.
sit down, enjoy
Yeah.
breakfast. Then we go out. And even then, we had a very systematic way of, okay, now everybody open your presents from this person. Now everybody open
Yeah.
this person. And so
We
I was
we
always
did
very
like
chill with the
a
whole taking your time with presents thing.
we would like see who wanted to play Santa on Christmas Day. On Christmas Eve, Santa actually came to my grandpa's house. It was a friend from the Elks Lodge, and he and his wife would dress up. And oh
Yeah.
man, my cousin one year was like it was like New Year's and they do a big family dinner for New Year's that's like walleye and like ribeye and French onion soup, like fancy dinner at the Elks for
Yeah.
Um, New Year's Eve. And my little cousin was like, Herman looks a lot like Santa. And then he like sat there for a second. We were all just like, oh no, he's
Like,
gonna figure it out. And he was like, nah. And then he went back to eating, and we were like,
Just
oh,
be like,
like,
oh,
whew,
yeah, you're
dodged a
right. There are a
bullet.
couple similarities, isn't there? He does look a little
He's
bit,
like,
yeah. Yeah, that's
he
funny.
looked so suspicious, and then he like thought about it and was like, nah. And then he went back to eating, and we were all like, oh, thank goodness. We get
Yeah,
another year of the fun. We were like, oh
yeah.
no, is he gonna figure it out?
There's gonna be this this public realization.
Is
This,
Herman Santa? Right. I think he figured it out by the next year, but yeah. So yeah,
yeah.
on the day of though, we would like someone got to wear the Santa hat and then they would like hand out the presents. They would just go to the tree and be like, the first one they picked up, oh, this one's for Grandma. This one's for
Hmm.
Steven. This one's for Aiden. This one's for Carol, right? Whoever.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's pretty fun. Usually my
Oh,
little
that's so
sister
fun.
played Santa on the day. Like she'd wear the Santa hat and pass it out, typically.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah,
that's so fun.
traditions are fun. Yeah.
I love
So
traditions.
I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving and enjoy your turkey. I hope you get your
You as
turkey.
well.
If they try to switch it up, just be like, we got to have both then.
Luckily, it's
Like
been
you
established
bring
already.
this and
Yeah.
I'll bring the turkey. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
As long as there's turkey.
Yeah.
So, alrighty. Well, you have a good one. I won't
You
see you till
too.
after the holiday. So happy Thanksgiving. And I will
Yeah.
see you, I think, in December, right? Because it's already the
Yep.
18th. Yeah, it'll be
Oh
the
my gosh, December 2nd.
2nd.
Yeah.
Can you believe
That
it?
is so
Time is
weird.
flying by. All
That
right.
is so
So
weird.
I will see you in
See you
December.
in
Have
December.
a great week. Bye,
You too,
Brigham.
Andy. See ya.